This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Marissa Burton. For the first time in 32 years, the Blue Jays are heading back to the World Series. After a thrilling 7-game fight with Seattle, which concluded with an all-time classic last night, Toronto's set to play in the Fall Classic for the third time in franchise history. And having won it all in their only 2 other appearances, they're hoping to maintain that perfect record. But this year, it is going to be a tall task, as they're facing a juggernaut of a team in the Dodgers, who not only won it all last year, but also absolutely ran through the NL side of the playoffs, losing just 1 game on their way to the World Series. But even with how hot the Dodgers have been, don't count the Jays out, at least when it comes to the classic debate of rest versus rust. Ever since the ALCS and NLCS expanded to a 7-game series in 1985, we've seen a World Series matchup between a team that swept and a team that won in 7 exactly 4 times. And all 4 times, the team with more tread on their tires won it all. Fans, though, doesn't really care about that stat, as they've got the Dodgers as favorites to win it all minus 220. But some good news, Jays fans, that we learned last night. According to Bo Bichette, he expects to be back in the lineup for the World Series. Even if the kid isn't quite ready, you know he's putting himself back in that lineup. Over to the ice, where the Leafs are back in action after a pretty tough weekend. And not only did they lose in overtime to Seattle, but all the headlines were speculating about tension in the locker room, because Anthony Stolarz all but called out William Nylander for failing to backcheck on the game-winning goal, and will be looking to bounce back tonight against the Devils. Toronto will have their work cut out for them, though, as Jersey has been one of the best teams in the NHL this season, and coming into tonight have won 4 straight. And those of you in the Leafs region can watch the game on TSN. Coverage begins at 6:30 Eastern, and that's not all we have on the network tonight, as those of you in the Sens region can watch an all-Canadian matchup between Ottawa and Edmonton. To the association, and the long wait is over, as the NBA is officially back tonight. And this year is loaded with plenty of interesting storylines as we enter the season. But let's start with OKC and their quest to repeat. They're attempting to be the first team to win back-to-back titles since the Warriors in 2017 and 2018. And if history tells us anything, the odds are stacked against them repeating. And this stat articulates that perfectly, as we've seen 7 different NBA champions over the last 7 seasons, which is actually insane. Now, the odds makers, however, think a repeat is coming, as OKC are heavy favorites at 2-1, with Denver behind them at plus 650, followed by Cleveland and New York out east. And those title odds definitely paint a picture of how wide open the East is this year, with no Halliburton or Tatum, who are both recovering from Achilles injuries suffered in the playoffs. And they are 2 of many injured players to start the season, and none of those injuries are perhaps bigger than LeBron James, who will miss opening day for the first time in his 23-year career, as he's expected to miss the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season with sciatica. And with him out, the Luka MVP odds have really dropped, as he has the 3rd shortest odds to win the MVP at 4-1. You can catch the NBA season opener tonight on TSN. It's the Rockets and Thunder at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. If you don't want to stop talking about Game 7, you got to know about this stat. So here we go with one stat to tell the group chat. Last night, Jeff Hoffman became the first pitcher since Calvin Schiraldi in the 1986 ALCS to face 3 batters and strike out all 3 in the final inning of a Game 7. And I'm sure a lot of Jays fans get a little nervous when Jeff Hoffman walks to the mound, no? Now you don't have to worry, friends. Shout out to the amazing Sarah Langs on Twitter for that stat, one of our favorite baseball follows. Listen, however you were celebrating last night, I felt that, you know? I felt that. It was a lot of excitement. I hope you enjoyed the content that we brought to you. Send us a couple likes on Instagram, and we'll see you tomorrow.